Welcome back to Business Banking and Beyond. For this episode, we have Karl, a former Olympian and the founder of FlexoFix, a mobility and wellness clinic in Dubai. Karl's journey is one of the resilience and transformation after suffering multiple injuries during his Olympic skiing career, including a knee injury that ended his athletic journey. Karl found a new passion in wellness and mobility. During his rehab, he discovered his entrepreneurial spirit, which led to the creation of FlexoFix. Karl has since been featured in prestigious publications such as Forbes Middle East, Entrepreneur Middle East, Gulf News, and Khaleej Times. He shares his inspiring story from the skyscopes to the wellness clinic and the challenges he faced while setting up his business, and how FlexoFix addresses the common mobility and recovery issues his clients face. Stay tuned as we explore Karl's incredible journey from athlete to wellness entrepreneur and learn how his clinic is helping people move better and live healthier. Okay, so let's get started with Karl. First of all, thank you so much for taking out time and coming here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much for having me, and really looking forward to dig deep into this whole conversation.
Karl, I would first of all really like to know personally, what is your journey from a professional skier to starting your business, and how did you get skier as well? How did you become professional skier as well?
So our mom was a professional skier. So basically that's how we started. Mom was a professional skier, and mom and dad were very pushy towards us being very athletic. So we were pushed into all kinds of sports when we were young. And I decided to continue in skiing very, very competitively and professionally. So I followed mom's footsteps. So we started skiing at a very early age. I think mom put us on skis when we were about 3 years old. Yeah, so 3-4 years old, we were straight away on the skis, going down the slopes. And then from there, we used to live in Saudi. So we used to ski very, very little, just during winter vacations. And then we moved back a little bit outside Saudi. So that's why we started skiing much, much more competitively. And then we started training more regularly. I traveled a lot around Europe. I did a lot of camps, a lot of months spent in abroad to be able to train and become better. But most of the training was definitely done in Lebanon. So originally Lebanese, so moved back to Lebanon, started doing a lot of training, a lot of competitions. And then from there, moved to Dubai with opportunities and everything that went around, life moves you around, and we moved to Dubai.
Well, it's very fascinating that from age of 3, you were very clear. I mean, your mom was very clear that she had to put you in some or the other athletics, and you followed her footsteps of being an skier. So you started in Saudi Arabia, but because of the conditions, you were moving around, and most of your trainings and everything you were doing in Europe as well. So when you were doing this training and everything, when did you move to a professional skier?
So the way it works is that first you start training, you go into a school, and then the school start training. And once you become up to the standards and the coaches can evaluate you, then you're selected to, start competing. You basically compete in little internal competitions, but then when it comes to competing outside and having your international ski federation numbers, then you start skiing abroad as well. So this is why you first of all have to be selected. You have to, go through all the different trainings, and then after that, you do the competitions to move on to professional level. And once you have a professional level, which is called FIS, so Federal International Skiing, this is where you are able to be classified pretty much worldwide and compete worldwide. So like every other sport, there's a worldwide classification. There's an authority for that. So you have to go through all of this. So we went from skiing just during winter vacations, like you said, just during winter vacations because we used to live in Saudi, and then to when we moved back to Lebanon to training very regularly, pretty much the entire season. So it was quite intensive the way we trained because we only had very little months, and then the months that we were able to travel to Europe to really continue and better ourselves, we moved to Europe.
So then you practiced, you trained for some of the competitions as well, and you went up to the level. So any competition which you went for the skiing?
Yes, so I've done quite a few. I've done in Europe. I've done a couple. I've done also in China and in Italy, and also in Switzerland as well. Most of the trainings were in between Switzerland, France, and Germany. But the competitions, the biggest competitions I've been on were China, Italy, and then Switzerland.
Okay. So if I had to summary up, what are the steps if somebody wants to become a professional skier? Can you just brief that?
So number one is make sure that you're physically fit because it is a very demanding sport, especially on the legs. So one is fitness level has to be an impact. And we'll pretty much dive into this a little bit later, I hope. And then the second one is going to be just slowly get the steps of skiing, get your lessons done, make sure you have a professional that teaches you and not someone that casually is showing you the techniques, because once you start adapting to a certain technique, it's going to be very hard to change. So rather really get a professional skier, get a professional coach that knows and understands the skiing aspect and how the movement and how it needs to be done, how you need to turn, how you need to switch your balance, then you'll be able to really.
And how do you go till the competition level? After getting a professional coach, you have to do training. How do you go to the competition?
So competitions, like I said, you have to register under a certain federation. So for whichever country you're on, if they're registered and their federation is registered, then you can start moving on into that. It all depends on which country you want to represent. Usually it should be the country that you are. There are countries that do not have a skiing federation or a skiing, then there is another path you can go through, and you have to apply through the skiing federation, and they look at your case, they look at what you can do. Most of the times, the country you train in, they would accept, but again, it all depends on nationality, passports, and all that. But it's pretty easy. You train really regularly, you really get into it. Once the coach, whoever is training you, sees that your level is, to par level or to the level of the competitions, I recommend do little competitions, small little things, just to get yourself a little bit more comfortable with it, the nerves that goes into it, understanding how it goes. And then from there, we'll be able to, start competing in smaller competitions and move on to higher levels, to the elite level.
Karl, I have heard about your knee injury which happened, I think, in Olympics or something.
Yeah.
And that reshaped your whole journey. Can you share things about it?
Of course. So again, we were very athletic. So mom and dad were very eminent of us being very athletic and doing all types of sports. So inevitably, I love every kind of really intensive sports. So I started moving from skiing to playing squash as well very regularly. I played squash for about 15 years. I've done a lot of football as well and a lot of strongman. So all that took a strain on my body. Now, understandably so, but I kept getting injured. Every time I skied, I felt a very strong pain in my knee. I couldn't move. I kept tearing my knee. I kept tearing my meniscus, my ACLs. So I used to do all the therapies. And then from there, I never really recovered. I did all the therapies, but I kept getting injured. So this is what pretty much got me into that injury, and it was just that repetitiveness, and I couldn't figure out why it kept happening. So I had to stop. I was forcefully removed. At some point, I was selected to go to the Olympics as well, and then I got injured about a week before the Olympics. So I had to pull out of the team, and then someone else took my place.
So that was a hard point of your journey where you were pushed out of Olympics because of your knee injury. So we'll come to that point, and we'll discuss before that, how did this experience actually helped you to start your own wellness and recovery journey?
So, like I mentioned, it was very hard for me to really find someone to make me understand why it kept getting injured, why my knee was feeling weak and feeling all that pain. So what I did is I started going through all types of different therapies, like we should, right? I saw all the professionals, we did all the scans, we did all the treatments. But yet again, As soon as I'm done with all this, feel good, go back into skiing, injured again. So I took a step back and started reading by myself. I thought to myself, I need to understand by myself. I don't want to listen to someone telling me. So I started learning a lot. I started reading a lot about, the muscle, the anatomy.
To improve yourself, you started with learning about.
Absolutely.
Can you recover yourself because you are not happy with the doctors or the physicians which were telling you what you have to do? You were trying, you were failing. Again, the pain was coming back. So you started learning yourself.
Exactly.
Self-discovery.
Absolutely. So it was basically this. It was just for me to understand because I wanted to get better. It had nothing to do with work. It had nothing to do with anything. Of course, I was working at this time. I was into hospitality, so I used to work in hotels. And at the same time, I used to still compete and train. So I wanted to get better. I still wanted to compete. I was very young still. I didn't want to stop competing. I didn't want to stop sports. So I started learning. I started going back and forth and understanding why I kept getting injured, why my knee kept hurting me. And by that time I had to, I had stopped skiing and I was just doing a little bit more strongman, Olympic lifting, a bit of CrossFit, jiu-jitsu. So again, this would always come back. The knee issue is always coming back. So, so after learning, I decided I'm going to really consult people that, in my opinion, don't really get injured so much. Really to understand which sport where the injuries are the least. So I started working with ballerinas who are extreme
ballet dancers.
Ballet dancers, yeah. So extremely flexible. They really understand how to move. Their flexibility, mobility is on point, perfection.
So basically, when you were getting injured, you were going to doctors, they were doing your x-rays, scans, all type of things, and they were not able to figure out. So you started learning that it is not about bones, it is about muscles, and how in other sports, or maybe people consider ballet as a dance, but you considered that as a sport. And you went on that to understand how they are moving, that they are not getting injured.
Exactly. So it wasn't only ballet dancers. I've worked with bodybuilders. Bodybuilders have muscles that you don't understand how they grew up, right? You're like, how does he make this muscle? So I wanted to work with people that I knew after reading a lot, that I knew were very beneficial, and I wanted to combine all that to help myself. So I started working with ballerinas, movement mechanics coaches, and I started working with bodybuilders. I consulted loads and tons of physiotherapists and orthopedic and osteopaths. So all of that combined gave me an understanding that we need to work on the muscles and the importance of the muscles and how you activate those muscles.
So what was missing? I understood your point, but wanted to know from you exactly what do you think was missing in doctors' approach, and when you learned yourself from ballet dancers, bodybuilders, orthopedicians, physiotherapists, what was the major difference?
The major difference was how to move your muscles. The understanding of the movement. A lot of the times what we do and what we don't realize is that we have imbalances. So we have a muscle that moves better than the other. We have a muscle that activates better. A lot of people will say, oh, but I'm right-handed. Yes, you are right-handed, but that doesn't mean everything has to be done with the right. And that's why we sometimes start shifting, our posture shifts. We start moving forward, moving backwards. It's because the lack of activation of different muscles. So we have very important muscles that stop working because we don't fire them up. We don't make them work because the more dominant muscles take over. And once the dominant muscle takes over too much, there's going to be very much a lack of activation of other muscles, which creates imbalances, creates pains, and eventually creates injuries.
So you understood the value of muscle movement, but when you were meeting doctors, what they were focusing that they were not able to diagnose your injury and they were not able to correct you?
That's a very good question. So usually doctors, unfortunately, when I went there, they would look at the actual pain. So the pain is your knee, so they would just look at the pain. They would say, oh, the knee is there. Of course, they would look at everything around it, but not necessarily in how that is affecting when it comes to the movement. Am I squatting good? Am I squatting on the right, on the left? Am I pressing good? So there was never a proper understanding of that specific point and all the relations around it. Sometimes the pain is not where it is. It's a ripple effect of where it comes from. So if your ankle is not properly placed, it will affect your knee. and it will affect your hip and it will affect your lower back.
I think I got your understanding. Before that, I never had it, because as an athlete, you were doing certain thing wrongly continuously.
Continuously.
It will impact you maybe 7 days or 30 days later. Then you go to doctor. They will just look at that particular point and they will tell you do this certain thing.
Exactly.
You will do that for a few days. It will be fine. But after some days, it will come back again because you are doing the postures, muscle movements, everything
Absolutely.
still wrong.
Absolutely.
But in your case, now you understand the holistic approach. You see what the person is moving, what muscle movements he's doing, what is his lifestyle and everything. Then you combine it to tell me you should do this and you should do this in longer term to avoid this pain.
Exactly.
Well, I hope I understood correctly.
Yes.
So I can play and be an athlete as well.
Of course, everyone can. What's important is that you really consult and you really look at how your body is functioning, how we need to correct it, and then you can move on. Because what we will work on is muscle memory. So if you educate your muscle to work in a certain way, it will work that way. But if you don't educate it, you'll be in survival mode, trying to figure out what's going on, and treating, putting plasters here and there. But that's not going to hold you straight. Yeah?
So true. So I'll just summarize up about your personal journey and this injury, how it led to your self-discovery to solve your own problem, in which we discussed about how from a small age you started doing the skiing, how you went on to different athletics, different sports as well. Then your knee started hurting, and that's where you went on a journey of self-discovery about your own injury to solve the problem for yourself, and you saw a big gap.
Yeah.
Now comes the second part of your life, which is starting a business. So from that, you moved on to start a wellness and a mobility startup. So can you share more about it?
Yes. So once I started figuring out, like we said, what was wrong and how to fix it, I realized that there was a gap of really helping people understand that mechanics. And I thought to myself, why am I still working? Why am I not doing this as a business? Why am I not helping people? Because I loved helping people. So I started with friends and family. I started with my sister, with my brother, my cousin, my friends. And then from there, I realized, there is a lot of benefit from the little module, that modality that I've created, that I've molded, that we've fixed and put together. And I thought to myself, if we can help them this way, then I'm sure we can have much more people. So I started going just like every single person that starts a business, from my car. I started bringing my little table, move around houses, to give it a try. And the more I did this, the more I saw benefit and the more I saw people getting better and really benefiting from it. So from there, I rented a little office here in Dubai. So I was in Lebanon, and then the whole crisis happened, COVID and all that. So I thought to myself, let me move back to Dubai. So I moved back to Dubai. And then from there, I rented a little office space in a co-working space. I started consulting from there, helping people from there. And then the more we did this, the more we saw benefit. We saw people really healing, really going to this journey from I can't move at all to I'm back to the gym. I'm back to being active. And those success stories kept fueling that passion for me and saying, that's where I want to push. That's where I want to push. So I started creating a bit more of a more comprehensive approach to that modality that we've created. So what we did is we started thinking about what is the best. So when we do what we do, which is Flexology, the creation that we did.
And
so
your company name is
FlexoFix.
FlexoFix. I must say it's a very good name.
Yeah.
And it really, a lot of companies would give some fancy names or something, but I really saw your name is completely on to the point related to the muscle movement. I feel like, if I'm not wrong on that sense, but it's to the point. You know what is your mission, what is your vision. A lot of times when we are starting company, we don't know what is our mission and vision.
Yeah.
But from your name itself, when it comes, it keeps you stick to that.
We decided to do it a bit of a play on words as well, because, people start getting it wrong or they don't get it wrong. all of it is marketing. It's a nice play on words. FlexoFit. Some people say fit because they always think about fitness with us. Some people say FlexFix. So even though people do get it wrong sometimes, we love that part of it because it's a conversation starter. And people, they start trying to figure out what it is, which is really good. It's all about discovering.
So you started small, then you rented a co-working space from where you started. How did you conceptualize the first few clients after the friends and family? What were your demo products? How did you scale that products and services in your FlexoFix?
So what's really important is we've had really good successes. And then from there, we understood that the body needs more. We need a little bit more for the client to feel a little bit. So my hospitality background helped me because I wanted to have a journey for the clients. I didn't want to have, you come, you get treated and you leave. I wanted a journey. I wanted a full comprehensive journey for them to go through every single bit, right? So the journey was, you come in, you get analyzed. We analyze you, we analyze your movement, your mechanics, all of that.
I'm happy you didn't say diagnosed.
No. Exactly. I've chosen that word very carefully.
No, it's a very good word. Diagnosis, I feel like it is a negativity from the first step itself. But when you're saying analyzing, we are literally, you are analyzing us.
Yeah.
What exactly is the things in us? Yes, please.
So we wanted to make it very personalized. And that was so important for me because like my journey, and that's very personal. My journey went to be very, your knee hurts, that's what you do, go on, move on. I didn't want that. I wanted a very personalized care. And that's what we did in hospitality, very focused on the client itself. So we've done that. We've created this analysis of understanding of how you move, because the only way for me to help you is to know how you are, who you are. I need to get to know you. I need to get to know your body. If I just come in and try to treat the issue, I'm ignoring everything around it, which is you.
So true.
So we had to create this really beautiful concept of understanding you, your movements, how you move, what are the limitations that you have. And from there,
What are the pointers of analysis? If you can share 3-4 pointers when a patient or a person is coming to you, what are those 3 pointers or different things which you check as a company?
So our movement analysis is about 34 to 54 movements. So we look at your ankles, knees, hips, mobility, stability, and strength. Then we move to your hip, lumbar, thoracic, shoulders, neck, and anything else, wrists, or anything else.
So you will check how the muscle movement and all the body parts are happening. But how do you analyze that? Do you have some checklist, system, machine?
Yes. So we have a full analysis. So it's a protocol that we use. We have a few things on the floor that we use. So it's for range of motion to see how far you can reach, how far you can move. Okay. And then we also have movement assessment. So we will ask you to squat. We'll ask you to move left or right. We'll ask you to rotate. So we look at all this. And all this is measured because every movement that you do has measurements. So we look at the before and after. So we do the measurements before, and then we retest you after 2-3 sessions, look at the progress, and we say that, you were at 12 centimeters. You reached only 12 centimeters the first time. Now you've reached 24 centimeters or 23 centimeters. So
I got it's completely opposite to when we go doctor will, most of the cases, doctor will ask you what is the problem, and then he will go for a scan, and then he will give you physiotherapy, and that's all it's done.
Yeah.
But as a person, if I tell you, I always like when somebody is asking 10,000 letting me do actions and analyzing it.
Yeah.
So if you ask a patient or a person, what do you want? He will give you answers all around the place. But actually, it's your job to look at his actions and understand. And that's what you're following.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you've been through it. Maybe someone else or in your family has been through it where I have pain, but I don't know where it is. Right? We get that question.
Most of us.
Yeah. We say, it hurts here. We don't know. We just know here. And it moves. And I get this all the time. The pain moves. First it's here.
Yeah.
Then it's here. Then it's here. So the pain moves because your body and the way your body responds to it moves. So if you have pain on your right shoulder in the front, you might stop doing certain movements that cause the pain. So you're doing this, which the pain stops being here because you stopped, and then moves here because you're doing over this. So this is why we make sure that, we do the full analysis, and then we will be able to start treating you. Now, from the treatment, it's amazing. We realign your body through muscular chain. So we look at the imbalances. Okay, so your muscle doesn't work here, it works like that. This doesn't work here, this, and we start working on that. So we start putting you on a table. You lie down on a table, very comfortable, very easy, nothing to do with standing up. And then we start putting your legs and your movements or whatever movement, whatever treatment we're doing in the proper direction and start activating those dormant muscles. That is going to, first of all, elongate the muscle. So we make sure it really stretches out. It opens up the nervous system. It removes all the toxins. And at the same time, it realigns and it structures body-mind connection to help muscle memory go back into place.
Okay.
So we'll do this. So when we did this, I've realized that there's something missing. You know, healing and the healing process is not just one way. So again, through extensive research, back in 2017, I found a company that was doing hyperbaric oxygen chamber, which in my opinion is the crown jewel. The most important thing you can ever do is get into the hyperbaric.
What's the name, sorry?
Hyperbaric oxygen chamber.
Okay. A lot of us don't know about it.
Yes.
Okay.
So hyperbaric oxygen chamber is a little capsule. You go inside and there's purified oxygen, or sometimes some of the bigger ones have pure oxygen that is pumped into the capsule. And then it's pressurized. So once you're inside, you feel that pressure. The pressure is pretty much like you feel going up into, you know, the airplane. You know, that little pressure you feel coming up. So it's either 1.3 ATA atmospheric pressure, 1.5 ATA, 2.0, or some of the other ones might have a different pressure. So that pressure helps break down the oxygen molecules into liquid form that's absorbed by your plasma much faster. So it goes into the stream of your body, into places that really hard for the oxygen to reach. So it helps ossification, it helps bone ossification, it improves cognitive function on a level like no other. So if you have any cases of strokes, any patients recovering from cancer or cancer patients, if you're just recovering from constant stress at work, it's going to help you because it improves oxygen flow into your body and it helps recovery 70% faster.
So it's a purified oxygen chamber.
Yes.
Which is directly going into the body through the plasma, which you mentioned.
So it's just you breathe it in. It's all that breathing. It's that compression that you breathe in, and that's what makes it so much better for the oxygen for your body.
You mentioned something about cognitive thinking in terms of improving through this. Can you a little bit detail on that as well? Because muscle movement and muscle recovery, body recovery is already happening through this approach. But how does cognitive works in this?
Exactly. So that oxygen chamber is going to be very important because most of the time we're so stressed, right? What happens is that stress and the tension in the muscle reduces oxygen flow into the brain. So it's really important that we have a lot of oxygen into our brain to be able to rejuvenate, think properly, and then rebuild to make sure that you function in the right way, you think quickly. And that oxygen increase helps that cognitive function. It helps you focus better, it helps you sleep better, it reduces that stress. Now, combined with the hyperbaric chamber, I thought, again, I need more, as we always do, right? So I need more, and we've brought in the vibroacoustic bed with PEMF, so pulsed electromagnetic field. So the vibroacoustic bed is acoustic vibrations that are linked, so it's acoustic, so sounds that are linked to the vibrations on the bed, and they help reduce stress and improve circulation of the blood. So it's all about blood circulation. It's all about movement. If I'm going to say one thing that's really important today, it's keep moving. You need that blood flow no matter what. So we needed to continue that oxygenation. We did the muscle movement. We realigned. We did the oxygenation. Now we need to reduce the stress. So we put you on the vibroacoustic. It induces the nervous system to really calm down. And from there, it's going to increase the vibrations to help circulation and calm down the muscles. PEMF is pulse electromagnetic field. Pulse electromagnetic field is electromagnetic field that helps revitalize cells metabolism through ion transport. So when we're really in very basic, when we're very tired and very sick, our ions, our energy charges are negative. So this helps turn it off, helps it back on. So imagine going from beautiful mobility, movement, feeling your body very, very comfortable and very relaxed, to going into hyperbaric chamber, breathing in all that purified oxygen, oxygenating your body, and then going back onto the vibroacoustic and the
the blood circulation
to reduce the stress and revitalize your cells. So go back into positive mode. So I thought this is going to be phenomenal. So that we go back to the journey. That journey of, wow, I'm going through all of this cycle. But again, it's not enough. So we've added, and because we became so successful and we had so many people come in and we've seen such great success stories, we added physiotherapy and a chiropractic. So imagine
physiotherapy and
chiropractor.
okay, what is that?
So chiropractor is adjusting the body through the skeleton. So you know those videos when they go,
Yeah.
So what we worked on is really understanding the journey, and these modalities and these all these services are not just placed and dumped just like that, because like we said, it's an ultra personalized journey of your recovery. So we make sure that you need chiropractor or you don't. Maybe you will, maybe you don't. Maybe you'll need a bit more physiotherapy, because physiotherapy has ultrasound, radio frequency, electrostimulation, dry needling, cupping. So all of these are combined. So we really sit down, all of us, the whole team sits down, and we analyze every single person by himself. And we say, okay, so I have this case. This case is going to give me that. So this person has a bad knee. He has an ACL tear. What do we need? Oh, he's going to need a bit more recovery. So we're going to put him on red light to help recovery and reduce inflammation. And then we're going to do some cupping. We're going to do some dry needling. We're going to do some exercise therapy. Then we're going to put him in rehabilitation for muscular realignment. Then we're going to put him on oxygen chamber to make that recovery faster. So they go on a journey. If someone says he has a sciatic pain, we'd say, okay, so we look at the scans. He needs adjustments from a chiropractor. Then he needs deep tissue manipulation from the physio. Then he needs proper movement therapy from flexology. And then, of course, we put him on vibro and compression therapy to help the muscles get better. So you understand how it went from a very simple journey where I wanted to get better to really understanding that there's a gap of really taking people on this entire journey, because health and getting better is not a one track. It's not one dimension. It's multiple dimensions.
Yes.
One
leads to the another problem, and you have to understand all those problems, analyze it, not diagnose it. And a precaution is better than cure. And that's what also you're following in some sense by giving them the right postures, advice, and even improving them as a body and giving them better access to what is required to.
Absolutely.
So I can see how it is personalized from all the services which are already available in the market, but how it is aligned in your company and some of the innovations as well, like giving them chambers with purified oxygen.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are very few companies or maybe rare companies which are using them. That's where I bring one more business question.
Absolutely.
Why did you choose such a niche to start your business? And what is the most important USPs, or what is the most important things which others are not doing in the wellness industry, but you are following it?
So I'll start with the first question. The first question is, why do we choose that niche? Because I believe because I've tried it and I'm using it, and I know how it's helped me, and I believe the science behind it is unbelievable. So I believe that it might be niche now, but it will become very public very soon because of the unbelievable benefits that it gives you. So we're trying to, hammer the nail really early on, be one of the first ones. Now, again, there's loads of people that are now more and more into it. It's like the ice bath, right? You see everyone on the ice bath now.
True.
We used to do in training ice bath back when we were young, but it wasn't something very famous.
I keep on watching videos on Insta everywhere now about this ice bath.
Yeah. So now everyone has ice baths, right? I believe that hyperbaric chambers are going to be pretty much the same. They all came out at the same time pretty much, but I believe hyperbaric chamber are going to be the same. So I believe in the amazing benefits that it can give every single person out there. And I think that we wanted to be one of the first ones to start adapting it into our system. And the second question, what are we doing differently than others? I think it's the personalized service and the journey and the program we put people on. A lot of the times you'll see clinics that will have chiropractic, physiotherapy, orthopedic, all of that, but they don't relate them to each other. We relate them. We link the whole circle to one another, and we communicate all the time. So there's a proper communication. So there's that continuation of treatment, and it really is proper understanding. So you can have all the technologies in the world, but if you don't know how you use them.
Well, this brings me to a very important quote, which is written by me. I'm a very good writer. Just
Great.
joking.
I'd love to listen to that.
I just write quotes when I was in college. It's like 10 years back.
Yeah.
I just loved writing few quotes, small 2-sentence things, which really motivated me. So at that time, I had written something which I use a lot in my life, and it really connects with you as well. Everybody has that weapons or that technology which you mentioned, all the clinics, but they don't know how to use it properly and how to analyze to fit it. So what was my quote? So it goes like this. So you can have everything, but it does not matter what you have. Mostly it matters is how you use it.
Absolutely.
So I think little bit it connects with that one.
Absolutely. That's unbelievable. It's crazy how many clinics we've seen that unfortunately they have the budget and they have the money for bringing the best equipment, but we'll see a lot of them failing because they don't know how to, one, market it, maybe, two, combine it with the therapies that they're supposed to combine it with to really look at the benefits, right? There's a lot of people that have, radio frequency, and that's 250,000 dirham machine. But they don't know, the benefits, and they don't make clients understand the benefits of it. So,
well, we'll move on to that one now,
yeah,
which is called operations and challenges in the wellness business. So the first thing in that one would be, right, wellness, I could understand with the whole conversation we had till now, is a medical expertise with customer service. So how do you balance this? Because a lot of doctors or maybe wellness ones are not that good in the customer service, or maybe not good in the medical. How do you balance that? And the same question answer which you will answer, you can continue with that as well.
So yeah, I think it's really important, the word healthcare, right? We a lot of people look at health and then they forget the care, because it becomes just a machine. Come in, come out, come in, come out. I think it only comes down to very, very simple thing. It's just wanting to care, wanting to take your time, listen to your client. Yes, people will come and people will talk for hours and will try to open their heart, but some people, this is the only safe place they have. So it's really important for us as healthcare professionals, or as whatever you want to call us, as professionals that help you get better. It's part of the job. It's part of what we want to do. It's part of the promise we give to the clients that we are going to take care of you. I have to listen. Later on, I can manage the way I listen. I can manage my sessions, but I have to listen. I have to understand you because I want to take care of you. I don't want to take care of a problem, which is the knee pain. I want to take care of you. And I think that is what makes a big difference in the way you deliver your services.
Well, you really put nice way that health, and people often focus the health part but not the care part. But it's true, it's coming together. I think the name has been given very thoughtfully.
Yeah,
healthcare.
Exactly.
And I think when I was asking questions, something back of the mind, I had this thought as well, that because you were in a hospitality industry as well, you understand the value of servicing people.
Yeah.
And that is very important in healthcare.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next thing, what are the biggest challenges which you faced while setting up a wellness and mobility startup in Dubai?
So the biggest challenges, I think, is one, exposure. Unfortunately, there's quite a few people that like I said, they have the money. So they look at, we want to build something because we can see that's working. But there's too much, right? I believe that we have a lot of competitions, but not the proper competition. So if it was proper competition, if we had someone that really is to the level, you'd say, that's great. You can see them, you can see us, you know. I think that at some point we get to the point where we're almost cannibalizing each other, right?
Sure.
And then people doesn't know where to go. There's just too many. You put back pain, physiotherapy, you'll have hundreds for this little big city, I'm going to call it, for this little beautiful big city, there are too much. So I think that the biggest struggle is that we have loads of competition. And then the second thing is
and there is no specialization. Saying that,
yes, there are, again, I'm not saying everyone is like that. I'm not saying we're the best and we're the only best. We are amazing and we believe in what we do. And there are other clinics that are phenomenal. I think that once we start collaborating a little more, the ecosystem of healthcare can work even faster and better. I believe so.
So healthy competition is better.
Yes, healthy competition, not too much competition. It's not, we have to all open up next to each other. Has to be a bit more.
Did you face some legal challenges as well while setting up, or anything related to setting up, right? Consulting, anything which is like when you want to start the first few steps?
Absolutely. I think we've went through quite a big roller coaster of trying to set up. It was very complicated, very intricate. There was a lot of details that we missed out on and we didn't know that we needed to know before. And I think companies like yourselves that help people start up, and I know that, you know, you go through different things in the healthcare system, it's very, very meticulous. So it's not as simple and as straightforward.
Would you like to share some one or two things
Absolutely.
where
number one is really understanding what it needs to open a clinic. So there's a lot of setbacks, which is one, the layout has to be perfect. So it's not any layout that will work out. The layout has to be perfect. What kind of activity, what kind of projects you want to do, and each one has a different layout and different structure that needs to be put in. You're going to have different licenses. Each licenses covers something else. So if you want to do different therapies, you're going to have that specific permit, that specific activity set up for you. It's on top of this, you have to deal with DHA. So you're going to have the government, then you're going to have the DHA, and then you're going to have municipality, then you're going to have Ministry of Health. Again, all of that kind of combines into each other. So you really have to we had to constantly look at those different regulations, and they were very, very complicated. Yeah, so the challenges, one of the other challenges we faced really, that was very important, is understanding where to get your license from and where to get the approvals from. So it was quite a bit of a confusion, and really understanding the process. And I think it's great that now that we have companies like yourselves that can guide a lot of people to really understand what you need, right? We didn't know that we had to get a pre-approval before the approval. And then after the approval, you had to get inspections. And so all of that really took such a toll on us financially. So financially, it was really aggressive to us. And then because we lost a lot of time and we forgot the date, we didn't know there was deadlines, all of that. And then second one is time consuming. And time is
money.
Time is money.
And that's why I think now it's the time to promote Dhangad.
Yes, exactly.
It's not about promotion, but it's again some of the stories which you mention about your wellness startup is body wise, means you want to improve people. But when it comes to business wise, we help there. I've seen a lot of clients coming to us when they're in problem, actually, not when they just want to start as well. So when Dhangad was starting a business setup 4 years ago, it literally started because of the problems we saw in the license which customers were bringing to us, from a very small kind of business to a very complex business such like yours, from an import-export business to a yoga studio. So just like you mentioned on the camera about you wanted to start in 2 months your clinic, but it took 12 months because of the right permits, right approvals. So we had a client who wanted to start a gym. It took him 6 months as well. When we came into the picture after 6 months, we got him done in 1 month.
Yeah.
There can be any issues because when you're trying to start a business, there can be, we think it's a license, it's a straight away process. Then you go for Ijari, you get your Ijari and you start. But there are a lot of things, and government is right. Actually, law is perfectly made. It is for us to understand, or you have to hire a consultant.
Yeah.
If you can understand, well and good, which is can be little difficult, but most of the times you hire a consultant who knows and has gone through that process multiple times and gets you the job done stress free and in a timely manner.
Yeah.
So there can be multiple things in terms of permits, as you rightly mentioned about DHA approval, in terms of construction. So once you get clinic approval or a yoga approval for a license,
Yeah.
then there is a DM approval as well, which is required how the place is made.
Yeah.
You take the pre-approval to start your interior, then you take completion as well to get your finalized document that you have made this as per the standards of Dubai, and the government is perfect as per that. It is you who's not understanding,
Yeah.
and that's where the consultant comes in picture.
Yeah. And this is why this is one of the biggest lessons. And those parameters were placed by the government for a reason, to make sure that everything is perfect and there's no complications and nothing. The mistake that we've done is we try to rush into the process.
Absolutely correct.
And it's very natural from a young entrepreneur and someone that's just starting to really, I just want to get started. I just
The
want to get started.
oxytocin level is on the next level. We just want to start.
Yeah. So we've went through those mistakes. We've done those mistakes, but it's something that we're very grateful for, because we did learn so much out of it. You know, yes, it's very costly and time is money and all, but that made the opening of the next 3 companies that we have in the pipeline, it's making those such a smooth ride and so much easier and so less complicated. So an advice is, find someone that understands. Even if you have to pay a little bit, that's going to pay off so much more in the long run.
So
much more.
even in some cases like this, I would not say, see, a consultant is not there, a service provider is not just there to help you with legal. I would speak about Dhangad, not for everyone. But when I am taking up a project, or Dhangad is taking up a project for a yoga studio, for a clinic or anything else, in that way as well, we will not just adhere to that, we just want to get you the license. If it is required to speak to your landlord to understand the tenancy challenges.
Yeah.
So when I'm speaking about that gym, so it was in a hotel. So the landlord, the customer didn't knew that he will not get an Ijari.
Yeah.
But landlord knew it and he didn't inform as well. How do you get license without an Ijari?
Yeah.
So that's where again the challenge. So we check tenancies as well. We check other aspects of the business where we can at least guide you to be safe.
Yeah.
Because again, your energy level is on the next level. You just want to rush into it.
Yeah.
So it's not just a business consultant is about getting your license, at least not for us. We try to see the whole picture. We try to see the business aspect as well, that whether it will be right, wrong, and how you should proceed it further.
Yeah.
Now coming back to your story again, we discussed about setting up challenges. I really want to know about the wellness, your business. What were the operational challenges which you face in your business?
So the operation challenges was the setup. First of all, I think the initial investment was quite extensive. The machineries and the equipments that we have, the AI technologies that we're using, have been quite expensive. So one of the challenges was really understanding on how to really bring that money back. Right? You know, we're caring about people, we're helping people, and that's the number one. And then number two was, of course, obviously, to make money out of it. So it was really to understand on how to place those at the forefront to make sure that we bring that money back. And I think some of the clinics that could be opening might face the same thing, as the initial investment might be quite extensive. So be careful on, I'd say, prioritize on what you want to bring in first and what's going to start getting you cash flow and some money so that you can start expanding. If you think that you're going to bring everything to have everything, it might be quite significantly bad for you because you might not be able to operate it properly. And then you see that operation costs are really high, maintenance cost is really high, and then you're going to have too much staff for the little amount of people that you're getting. So again, your cost is just too high for your operations.
So focus at the start, what is required, just do that. Don't just overwhelm yourself that I want to do this, I want to do that, and then adding on cost.
Prioritization. Yeah. Just prioritize on what offerings you want to do. Make sure you stick to the values and the vision of the company of what you want to do and how you slowly bring in those extra ones to help grow.
So did you see any other daily operational challenge as well after your first investment?
So after the first investment, I think the biggest challenges was the continuation of we unfortunately had not the best contractor. So you have that you'll have that fixing of the AC again and fixing of that, and you'll see how quickly things are used. You might go to a hotel, you might go anywhere else, you'll say, oh wow, it's all brand new. But the operation behind it is unbelievable. There's constant fixing, constant.
Agreed.
Yeah, constant monitoring, and then you have all these extra costs that we'll call them miscellaneous.
Yeah.
That come up out of nowhere. One of the staff breaks something, so you have to replace it. So you have to pay for it. So it's really important that you really do your due diligence before you rush into the business. And then again, companies like yours are perfectly aligned on this. And it's like we say, we go back to a bit what we do is there's a word we use prehab. So preventative rehabilitation.
Okay.
So we prevent you from getting to the point where we have to do rehabilitation. We want to make sure that we do this assessment. Even if you feel great, come and do the assessment.
Yes.
So we prevent that from happening. And you guys should do business requirements is really make sure that the client understands that we have to look at all the parameters.
Yes, which you're not able to think. Most of the times, client will not able to take account of those things as well.
We always stop, I think, as my mistake as at the beginning, we stopped after we said, okay, once we open, we'll be fine. But it's after you open that you see all these different little things that are coming up in front of you. And you're like, oh my God, and this is where I think the financial burden might be coming.
I think it is most of the times we always focus to start it, but it is even as a founder, it happens sometimes to me as well. But after starting up a co-working space as well, we saw challenges that made us as a consultancy more known to the things which you are mentioning about the contractors, the constructions, the interiors, the approvals, that made us more experienced in that sense. And those things which you mentioned really, that when we go to hotel, we see such good level of hospitality and customer service. There is a big level of operations which are happening behind. How you solve a problem of anything small in your premises, your clinic and my co-working space in a very small matter of time, that gives customer a different level of pleasure.
Absolutely. It's really important to make sure that you're on top of this. Your business cannot fail if you're not behind it. If you're not behind it, if you're just looking elsewhere and you're trying to do something else, the operations is always going to fail. They need that support. I think that I realized that every time we molded the structure to be self-operational, we realized that it no longer had the care, the passion behind it. So we had to always be behind it. We had to always make sure that we're constantly monitoring, constantly readjusting, constantly adjusting to what we need to do, because life moves on, right? There's always new things happening. There's always new theories, new licenses. And one of the things also that just comes out of nowhere is that the DHA comes up with new rules depending on how things are adapting, how the world is changing, which is great. There's always innovations, there's always advancements. And part of these advancements are your obligations to follow the standards, and that comes at a cost.
Well, I put it in a nice way for you, and I learned this a month ago only. And when I learned this fascinating thing, I was really happy about myself. So when we believe that our business is in autopilot mode, actually it is not. What happened is, which I learned as well, that when you build a product which is as good as for next 1 year, and in that time period, there is no movement happening in terms of market, in terms of innovation, that business is on autopilot. Example, in my service, if I'm building a process or a service which is valid for next 3 months or 6 months, there is nothing moving in the market, it will go on fine. But if after 3 months something happened, it is not an autopilot mode. So basically I have to keep on innovating. If my business requires everyday innovation, if that product is built for next 1 year only, then maybe I can sleep a bit for 1 year, but then I need innovation. And same for the service and process level as well. When I sit with my team, operational team, I would always say, then I give them a new process or somebody is suggesting a new idea, they will be very fascinated. Oh my God, sir, we are introducing this idea. This will be very good. Now we are sorted. I always say, this idea maybe will work for next 3 months. At worst, it will work for 6 months. But after that, you have to innovate.
Yeah.
So I think I'm on the same lines.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
So moving on to the next thing, what are the most common mobility and injury challenges which you see in your clients, and how do you solve them? Because it's repurposing, it's happening same. Most of the clients are coming with the same problem.
Yes. I think the number one will be lower back pain. And then number two will be neck and shoulders.
Oh,
right? Unfortunately, nowadays, a lot of us just sit and work. We're pretty much doing this. Our lives are all created to have us internally rotate this way. You know, shoulders are down, neck, looking at our phone. So I think that will be number 1 and 2, lower back, because people sit for long hours. People travel more. People move around more, especially those consultants that are always on the plane, or you're always in the car, or you're just on your laptop. And then also neck and shoulders are going to be number 2. Those are going to be the big...
So do you create some of the automation processes as well? Because you see these two problems are recurring continuously.
Yeah.
So do you create some processes which are designed same, not some interpersonal? Why I'm saying that, because as a business, a lot of time you require automations. If the same thing is happening again, as a business, you should automate that.
Yeah.
So do you do that? And if you do, how?
So unfortunately, a lot of this is very personal. So yes, we can both have sciatic pain, but mine is treated different than yours. So when it comes to automated, we do use AI, but in very different manner. So we love, and we're very grateful for how technology is adapting now. We use the automated version parts through the assessment, because everyone just goes through the same assessment, but the treatment, it has to be very different. So everyone will respond differently to different treatments. It's impossible for a protocol to be made the same, unless it's just the screening that we do, the analysis of the body analysis that we do. That's going to be pretty much the same. So yeah, that in that term, the analysis is going to be the same. It's the same protocol. It's going to be, we're using AI. We're now integrating a new platform, which I'm not supposed to say, but we're using a new technology that's going to help assess your posture, your movement mechanics and all that. So you just come in, there's going to be a camera, there's going to be all those sensors that are going to look at everything you do, and that's going to report straight away back to us.
Okay, so basically the analysis part in some or the other way will be automated to give you the report. It will not be manual, and that is actually better to avoid the errors.
Yeah, so it's going to help us a lot because there's measures, it's all measurable, and then we're going to have a platform that has pressure points. It's going to give us your balance as well, so it's going to be very measurable.
Karl, now about the biggest success story which FlexoFix has and which you are proud of. Would you like to share about that, about a client or anyone in your story?
I do have quite a few. I'll go through about 2 or 3. So number 1 is we had a client that came up, and that specific client couldn't sit for more than 30 minutes. And then his back would start being very painful, and he couldn't stand for more than 10-15 minutes because as well. So he was constantly sit a bit, stand a little bit, sit a bit, stand. Every time he had to drive down to Abu Dhabi, he would have to stop the car, come down, walk a bit, sit back in, come down. And again, like myself, he's gone through multiple therapies and multiple sessions of people helping him through for almost 20 years. And we've done sessions with him and properly taken him through all the protocols that we do. And we've successfully gotten him back into standing at a concert for 3 or 4 hours and sitting with his son and daughter for more than 4 hours, 3 hours in only 8 to 10 sessions.
Oh my.
So the turnaround was unbelievable. Now he was very, very disciplined. So he did all the exercise, everything that we've asked for him to do through the sessions that we were doing. But that was one of the proudest moments. The second one is one of our clients was unfortunately had an unfortunate circumstance that he had a surgery in his spine, which rendered his legs a little bit almost immobile. So he's in bed for 11 months. So completely almost couldn't move, quadriplegic, has to be assisted to move anywhere he wants. From that to having him walk on the walker in also as little as 15 sessions. So we've done quite a significant, and that's why I'm very, very happy with the circle, the ecosystem that we've put in place and how it helps people. Because like I said, getting healthy is not only one type of therapy, it's multiple therapies together. And that's what combines, that's what makes your recovery much faster.
So, I mean, these persons must be happy, and because of them, you must be getting a lot of good sleep because you're able to change somebody's body, somebody's daily life. So thank you so much on behalf of them and everyone you are changing.
Thank you.
Now I'll move on to advising the entrepreneurs, the newcomers.
Yeah.
When you have been successful in your wellness industry, I really want you to help them as well. If you can share 3 pieces of tips for a newcomer entrepreneur in the wellness industry.
Yeah. Number 1 is, I will say, we'll go back to the point, is consult proper people that have been in the industry. If you have a concept, if you have a unique selling or unique product, make sure you consult someone that understands the industry and like yourselves, to really go back into understanding what it takes to set it up so you can sell it and make the most out of it and really have a proper impact for people. Sometimes we have great ideas that come out, but because it's not properly executed, it unfortunately falls down the drain. So one is consult people. Don't be afraid to talk and ask. Don't have the ego to talk, no, I'm going to do it on myself. We are all friends. We're all here alive to help each other and grow together. So definitely.
So the first step is hire a consultant and as well as meet people in the industry. And to answer that, even when I was doing my co-working space, I literally went to many co-working space owners and their premises, learned, understood, then only I started it. Even being a business consultant, I did that. So we can say anything in that terms, market research or whatever, but for business consult, it will save your time for the licensing, save you from setbacks, but understanding your market is your job.
Yeah.
Okay. Second.
Absolutely. I'll just point out again on that point is really important. I have taken about hundreds of thousands of dirhams to go through different clinics and look at how they work and how they approach the clients. I've been a mystery shopper to a lot of clinics to look at if we're going to actually deliver something different or not. So if you are, then that's going to be phenomenal. Definitely go for it. If you feel that it's going to be very repetitive and you just want to do it, the second tip I would say is partner up with someone. Maybe what you bring to the table may be very valuable to someone that is already there, and that partnership can just grow. Don't cannibalize, don't try to create more competition, create a more difficult environment for you to grow. On the contrary, partner with someone, find someone that also wants to innovate, someone that has the same vision, same value, do all those networking events. And I think that is going to flourish your concept and your vision much, much better.
Which often is missing nowadays. Everybody wants to try to do everything and not giving appropriate time and not understanding the specializer into it.
Yeah.
If you can really partner up, collab, even after starting up, sometimes when we need to expand, we expand in-house, but rather than expanding in-house, try to collab.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why we've built some phenomenal partnerships, like partnership with Smart Salem. So we have a very good relationship with them. And I think this is the way to grow. It's to find someone that has the same vision, values, and wants to do the same steps forward together. I think that for me are the two very, very important tips for someone that's starting. And then the last one is make sure you learn everything. So don't come into business or don't come into the wellness industry thinking that you know everything, because you will be put on a spot where some people will know that this is wrong, this is right. So make sure that, I'm pretty sure you've done your due diligence, but I'll go with point 1 and 2 to be the most important ones.
And now one of the most important part where I really want to see that module which you show, because I have seen only the doctor's one, which is like very black and white. I want to see how you analyze on that software, and from there you move forward to give them the advices.
So it's really important that clients understand everything about their physiology, everything about their movement. And this is why we use this amazing technology right here. It gives us a bit more of an educational, a bit more of a structure of how the muscles are inserting. It's very generic, of course, but it really is pretty detailed. We can really showcase on how each muscle is moving and inserting and why their pain is happening. So this is really a great example. We have these modules. We go back into here where we go into the nervous system as well, so we can show them why they might have, for example, if we go a little bit here, why might they have a sciatic nerve pain, which muscle really affects the sciatic. So as you can see, it highlights the muscle that we're really talking about. I can hide it, or I can really come in and isolate it, make sure to look at exactly what I want to look at.
This was really a very fascinating platform. Thank you so much for showing that. It was very clear. When actually doctors say it is going above my head, but when I see this, I was really able to imagine and understand everything. This opened my eyes. So last thing for the day, what is your advice for the people who are facing setbacks, life-changing injuries, such like yours, in which you were not able to go to Olympics? What is your advice for them?
So my advice is, it's never over. That's number one thing. It's never over. There's always a solution and always a way to move forward. No matter what the injury is, some might be really extensive, and I wish this on no one, of course. But there's always a way to get stronger. There's always a way around it. There's always a way for you to stay active. Like we said, we're blessed to be in an era now where technology and AIs are helping innovate and really push the advancements of healthcare, whether it's support for the legs or mechanically move your arm or all of that. There's always going to be something, number one. Number two, take your time and be patient, because the process is going to be long. Don't expect everything. And that's one of the things that, operationally wise, I'll go back to the question really quickly. People think that I'll come to the clinic, I'll get one treatment and it disappears. Unfortunately not. Some cases are quite complicated and they need time. So be patient with your therapist, because things take time. And for whoever is having, life-changing, altering injuries, it will take time, but it's not the end. There's always going to be a move.
And my advice as per your journey is that it's not over. One thing. Plus, you're meant for a bigger purpose as well. Going to Olympics was one thing, but starting your business and then to helping so many people was your purpose.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming here, Karl.
Thank you so much for having
Looking
me.
forward to keep meeting you, visiting your clinic, be a brand ambassador of your services.
I can't wait. Thank you very much for having me.